All Creatures Big and Small is an animated film from 2015. This is also known by the title 2x2, which I don't mind. The original title is Oops, Noah is Gone, which I really do not like. All Creatures Big and Small is not a bad title, though. This is directed by Toby, Genkel and Sean McCormack, and it's basically set around Noah's Ark, but it follows some interesting creatures, mostly the Nestrians, which are rather delightful, but they're not allowed on the Ark. It's not clear why this is. That's part of the mystery, but they're not allowed on the Ark, and they're determined to get onto the Ark, but things don't go according to plan. And while they're on this journey, we also follow the characters called the Grimps. Not a name that I love. Nestrians, don't mind. Grimps, don't really love it. But we have young Finny, who is a Nestrian, and young Leah, who is a Grimp, and we have some really great scenes with those characters, and watching them interacting with each other I thought was quite nice. We do have some other actual animals as well. Of course, we have the animals that are on the Ark, we have some other animals, but I don't want to spoil it too much by explaining too many of the other characters that we meet, because a lot of the characters help to shape the progression of the narrative. It is okay. It is not a bad film. It is quite a sweet story. I think the Nestrians and Grimps are quite interesting characters. It's certainly a peculiar choice, but it kind of works. It does work really well. And I think the characters are all really likeable, which is the main thing. Because if the Nestrians weren't likeable, it would be harder to get behind their journey. But I wanted answers. I wanted to know why they couldn't go on the Ark. And of course, I'm not going to answer that question. But I did want the best for them. And they are very likeable, particularly Finny. I thought was absolutely adorable. So the story is unique. Definitely the most unique version of Noah's Ark that I have ever seen. And the animation is really pleasing, really satisfying. It does admittedly feel a bit gimmicky, particularly with the design of the Nestrians. And if somebody were to be watching this and they didn't like the fact that it seems to be quite gimmicky, I'd understand that. But I think it has a much deeper, more moving story if you can kind of look past the character designs of the Nestrians. It's a good character design, but when you're putting that into a story that is biblical, I can understand if some people are not comfortable with that. So that's just something that's worth bearing in mind. But personally, I didn't mind it too much. I think it's visually very engaging. It could potentially get some young children interested in the story of Noah's Ark, and they could then go and watch other more traditional versions of the story. There are many cartoons and films aimed at children that detail the story of Noah's Ark, and absolutely this has to be one of the most creative, and I do applaud it for the creativity. Visually, it is quite effective. I can understand if some people don't love it, but I didn't mind it. I wouldn't say I adored it, but I think it exceeded my expectations. The story is interesting. We have some sweet messages. I don't really want to talk about what they are without giving away too much information, but we basically find out more about the Nestrians, and it's quite sweet. And I did like the characters, and then the animation itself is visually pretty attractive. So, all things considered, All Creatures Big and Small, or 2x2, or Oops, Noah is Gone, if you really insist, is not a bad film. If you're looking for an interesting take on the story of Noah's Ark, then I'd say it's one that might be worth checking out.